So this will be a video about what I think of Mafia Definitive Edition. And I'm going to start first with the negatives. I don't really feel like candy coating shit. I'm just going to jump right into it. The driving. Oh boy, is the driving a pretty big learning curve. And it's required to progress in the game itself, requiring pretty good knowledge of driving and what cars can and can't do. Now, I'll elaborate a little bit more on that in, like a minute or two. But another thing, guns are pretty hard to aim without aim assist. Now, I know, shocker, but I wouldn't really say it's a negative thing. It's just like the guns, you gotta get used to the guns, okay? Like, you know the old saying, like, you gotta get used to the gun so you can, understand how it handles. So, same concept here. The story is very linear. Not really a bad thing, just something to keep in mind. Think of like GTA, but without side missions. Now, this is a huge negative, in my opinion. The fucking movement. The movement. I don't know why is occasionally bugged. And it's like I hit an invisible wall, which absolutely pisses me off. Sometimes my character does, he even does like a 180 for no apparent reason. And it's not like I don't know how to use movement keys. There's some kind of bug going on occasionally. It's like the key inputs randomly fail, which does suck when you're in a run mission. So remember how I said about like a minute ago, you kind of have to know how to do driving. So there's this race. There's a race mission, and you gotta know some pretty good driving knowledge to be able to like beat the race. It's a hard race. It really is. It's pretty hard. Honestly, the race can fuck off. I hated the race. Another really, this is more rare. I would say this is more like a rare thing, but occasionally very funny. But there are bugs that instantly like kill you or restart you back at it. Like you're pretty much forced to restart at the last checkpoint. Like you don't really have an option. Like a good example of this is so right here. I'll show them right here. As you can see, I'm just like, oh, I can fit in between these boxes. And it's like I got clotheslined by an invisible ghost. I was pretty fucking confused. I thought maybe I got hit by a sniper, but no, it was a ghost. Another example I'll show right here is an example of a game-breaking, although funny, bug was me sliding over my car and getting trapped in this artificial jail of bushes. I guess I really hit it in the most perfect and stupid way out of sheer luck. Because I did go back and try it again, and I couldn't replicate it. Now, I think, the occasional bugs like this is alright, and it can even make the game more memorable at times. But it's worth noting, at least, because some people will see this as negative. But I know every game will have, bugs. Now, another big thing that really pissed me off was the enemy AI. Enemy AI and stealth don't seem to mix that well. I'm sure if you really wanted to do a stealth playthrough and dedicated your time to it, sure. But once an enemy sees you, they kind of just stay locked on you. They re-aggro by other NPCs who haven't de-aggroed. So it's like just a constant chain of them being pissed off and aiming at you and just knowing where you are, all the time. It's really frustrating, but like, hey, like that's just how it is. That's how the game is, But that's the negatives. That's what I think is negative about the game. That's about it, really, in terms of negatives. Now I'll start on the positives. Now, as accustomed to vinegar, I'll also add some sugar. Because if I said the game was bad, that would be an absolute lie. This game kind of gives you a glimpse into the 1930s during Prohibition. You see the unique car styles, unique clothing, and even housing. The graphics are decent. Not bad, but, not the best. But for a PS2 remake, it's pretty good. I believe the graphics might be using something called custom culling. And this is a technique that most modern games use for graphics. It doesn't render textures, lighting, shadows far away, especially textures. So if you look at something up close, it fully loads, but far away it won't. This helps with rendering and gives a better performance in game. This is just some knowledge from one gamer to another. I also think they're using a PBR, or physically based rendering, which just means that the light interacts with certain things, giving a more photorealistic image. Like, for example, seeing the water puddles perfectly reflect the light, and it looks nearly photorealistic. Probably PBR. Now, for some attention to details that they've done that I want to point out. Driving while it's raining or on wet roads actually does affect your tire grip. And if you look very carefully underneath the bridges while it's raining, there is actually no water on the roads, meaning the bridges do cover rain. I did say the gunplay was hard, but on the flip side, if you figure out how each gun works and the limitations of each gun, they begin to feel pretty good. The same could be said for the cars, the vehicles. Once you truly understand what you can and can't do, in a vehicle. For example, you can't be trying to take a turn going 70 miles an hour. It won't work. It's not possible. The story is pretty damn good, but I feel like this should be a given. If the story was bad, I would automatically give this game a horrible score. Speaking, that's really what the game is about to begin with. Now, going back to the 1930s theme, all guns are also from obviously 1930s or older. So if you like older guns, which I do, it's a pretty nice thing having like that the old school revolver and shotgun and the Tommy gun and all the old guns. This game also does not really handhold when it comes to the difficulty. If you're playing on hard, expect a somewhat hard time, and some deaths will feel kind of unfair, like Dark Souls. A good example of this: you run up to a door, and a guy kicks the door open and hits you with a one-shot shotgun. On hard, not much, you can do besides taking cover before he does that. So, you're kind of screwed if you don't know what's going to happen. That's just a situation where, like, either you get one shot, unlucky, or he misses and you somehow live. Another big thing is it also doesn't really hold back on violence, which is a nice, that's not a bad thing. I would actually say that's probably a good thing. I would also classify that as a good thing. A lot of games today like to not go that route. They won't show violence or anything like that. This game is a pretty violent game, and it really doesn't hold back showcasing that, which, again, that's a good thing. Overall, I give the game a 7 out of 10. Now, I would say 8 out of 10, but that movement bug pissed me off one too many times. If it didn't have the stupid fucking movement bug that would randomly make me flip 180 degrees, like I'm playing Tony Hawk's Underground, and then hitting invisible walls, and the key input's not working at all, I would rank it higher. But that's all. That's what I think of the game. Now, I present you with this very weird still frame I found during editing, where it shows him with 4 arms, kind of like Machamp.